Lena was 78 when she finally said the words out loud. Not to a doctor, not in confession, not even in a diary, but to her granddaughter, Ava, who had shown up one rainy afternoon, dripping with frustration and heartbreak. Ava was 30, newly divorced, and furious at the world. "I don't understand," she said, throwing herself on the couch. "Everyone says sex is supposed to keep you close, but we were having it. We were doing everything right, and he still left." Lena set down her tea, her movements slow, deliberate. The house smelled of cinnamon and old furniture. Rain tapped the window gently like a clock, ticking louder than it should. "You think sex keeps people close?" she asked. Ava looked up, startled by her grandmother's tone. "Isn't it supposed to?" Lena leaned back, her hands folded over her lap, the blue veins in her skin looking like faded rivers. "I haven't had sex in 27 years, she said plainly. "And I've never felt more full of love in my life." Ava blinked. "Wait, you mean since Grandpa died?" Lena shook her head slowly. "No, long before that." It was a sentence she'd never spoken aloud before, not even to herself in complete honesty. She hadn't planned to share it, certainly not today. But the storm outside, the ache in her granddaughter's eyes, it opened something. She continued. "The last time your grandfather and I were intimate, I was 51. It was quiet, gentle, but something in me knew it was the end of that chapter. I didn't say it, and neither did he. But the closeness we had after that, it came from a different place." Ava sat up straighter. "You just stopped?" Lena gave a small smile. "We stopped needing it the way we once did. Our bodies changed. Our days changed. I started caring more about talking, cooking together, the way his hand would reach for mine during long car rides." "But didn't you miss it?" Ava asked, brows furrowed. "At first, yes. The way you miss dancing after you stop going to parties. There's a quiet grief in it, but it fades. And what remains, if you're lucky, is a deeper kind of intimacy. One built from attention, not adrenaline." She took a sip of her tea, then added, "Sex was never the glue, Ava. Presence was. Trust, patience, a kind of emotional generosity people don't talk about." Ava looked down at her chipped nails. "But I still want it. I want that connection, the closeness." "There's nothing wrong with that," Lena said softly. "Desire is beautiful, but it's not the only path to closeness. And it's not permanent. The body is a house, Ava. Over time, it changes rooms." She stood, slowly, and crossed to a small cabinet in the corner. She opened a drawer and pulled out an old notebook, the pages yellowed and fraying at the corners. "Here," she said, handing it over. "Read this page." Ava took the notebook and read Lena's handwriting, still elegant after all these years. "September 9th, 1996. I realized today I hadn't thought of sex in months. Not with longing, not with sadness, just hadn't thought of it at all. And instead of feeling empty, I felt light. Like I'd set something down. I still love him. But my love no longer needs that kind of expression. It lives in the spaces between our silence, in the way he brews my tea without asking, in how we sleep, facing the same direction, breathing the same night air. Love without urgency. It's quieter, but deeper." Ava read it twice, then looked up. "You wrote this when you were my age." Lena nodded. "And I thought it was the end of something. It wasn't. It was the beginning of another kind of life." Ava swallowed hard. "But what if I never find that?" Lena placed a hand over hers. "You will, if you stop expecting it to look like what it did before. We spend so much of our lives chasing passion, thinking it's the whole story. But passion is a matchstick. What you're looking for is the hearth." A long silence passed between them. The rain continued outside, softer now, the kind that made you want to curl up with a blanket and forget the world. "I don't think I could live without sex forever," Ava said, half smiling. "You probably won't have to," Lena said, chuckling. "You're young, and it may still matter to you for many years, but one day, it may not. And when that day comes, I want you to know you haven't lost anything. You've just arrived at another room in the house." Ava leaned back, her head resting against the couch. "Did you ever want someone else, after Grandpa?" Lena looked out the window, thoughtful. "Once. A friend of mine, Paul. We'd talk on the phone, meet for coffee. I think he wanted something more. I didn't. Not because I couldn't feel it, but because I didn't want to disturb the stillness I'd found. Solitude can be a garden, too, if you tend to it." Ava exhaled slowly. "You don't sound lonely." "I'm not," Lena said. "Loneliness is absence. What I have is space, room for thought, Room for memory. Room for Ava to come in from the storm. They both smiled. Ava leaned her head on Lena's shoulder, and Lena stroked her granddaughter's hair like she had when she was a little girl with scraped knees and big questions. That night, when Ava left, the storm had cleared. The sky was a soft purple, and the streets shimmered with reflections. She drove home thinking not about her ex-husband or the sex they once shared, but about stillness, about space, about other rooms she had yet to live in. And Lena, sitting alone in her armchair, picked up her notebook again. She flipped to a fresh page. April 3rd, 2025, Ava asked me about life without sex. I told her the truth, that love changes, that we change, and that nothing is lost when desire leaves, only replaced by a deeper quiet, a fuller kind of warmth. One day she'll understand, and I'll be here, or somewhere in her memory, whispering, "It's not about what you lose. It's about what you make room for." She closed the book and turned off the lamp. The house was still, but it was not empty.